that is here. So the first question that we're going to create, it's automatically set to the default, which is multiple choice. We're going to go ahead and go in order. The first question that we're going to create is a short answer question. And I'm going to go ahead and put in the question that I have pre-made here, and it's, what is your name? And then whoever sees this form is going to see the question right underneath. So that's where it would be, right there. Now, there's a few other things that we can do. We could actually say, you know what, if this is an important form, meaning you want the people to answer that question, excuse me, if this is an important question and you want them to answer it, you can click on required, and that'll automatically turn it to purple, and that means they have to do this question in order to submit the form. So the required is very important, especially if you want everyone to answer that question. You also have a couple of little icons over here that I kind of skipped over. The first icon is a duplicate. So you can duplicate this question, and then it'll automatically put it underneath with the same settings and everything else. If you want to delete that question, all you have to do is go ahead and hit the trash can, and it'll delete it right away. You can also do other things like show a description. So if you have to put a description in there on how to format the name, you can. And you can go ahead and say first name and last name. Okay, that way people know what exactly it is. And then you also have data validation. So for whatever reason, if you wanted to go ahead and say if the text contains the last name Sierra, and I'm just using mine, custom error, try again. Okay, so what's going to happen is they're going to have to try again if it contains that name. So we can go ahead and test that out, and up here on the right side there's a preview button. I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, but I want to show you how this works. So you click on the preview button, and then you go ahead and type in Armando and then Sierra. Actually, I think I said that wrong. If it has that, you're okay. But if you notice, if it says Sierra, it says try again. So I think this is wrong. I think I did it wrong. But you could actually go back in here, change it. It says doesn't contain email address, URL, so on and so forth. So you can change the different validation points here. And I'll go ahead and give you a little bit more information about that in the webinar document, which is going to be this document right here that everyone has. So I'll give you some steps on how to actually accomplish that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure I turn off the data validation, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off the description. I don't need that in there. And I'm going to close this right up here. Yes, I want to leave the page, and we're good to go. Now we're going to go ahead and create another question. If your form doesn't look anything like this, it's probably because you're still in the older version, and I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. And I just forgot about that. They did push out a new version a few months ago. So this is the older version, and this might be what you see. If this is what you see in your web page, then click right up here where it says try the new Google Forms. Once you do that, it'll take you back to where you were at before, and we're good to go. So we want to go ahead and create another question. To create another question, you're going to click on the little plus sign right here, and it says add a question. It automatically adds a question below that. Now, here I can go ahead and type in another question, but this time I want to make it a paragraph question. So if you were asking for a response from your people that you are surveying, you can do it just like this. So in one sentence, describe your mood, and then they would type out their response here. Again, it's going to be a required question. We're going to leave it like that. Now, if for whatever reason you want to move the questions around before you submit the form to everyone, you'll click right here. There's 6 little dots. You click on those 6 little dots, and then you can go ahead and move it up, and it'll be at the very top. Like, oh no, you know what, I want to name first. That's going to be the first thing that they do. That goes there. Okay, so that's how you would do a short answer and then a paragraph. Again, we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and add a title and a description this time. So maybe we have a different section, and we can say something about location. Okay, and we can just go ahead and leave it alone. Now we're going to add a new question, and I'm going to go ahead and make it a multiple choice question. So if I want a multiple choice question for do you teach elementary or secondary, I'm going to leave it selected as multiple choice, and then I'm going to go ahead and put down the two options. I can go ahead and type in elementary, and then I hit enter, and it'll automatically take me to the second line, and I can put secondary. Again, this is going to be a required question. We leave that checked. Now let's go ahead and add another question, and this is going to be checkboxes. So we're going to go ahead and create a checkbox. I'm going to copy the question, put it right in here, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on checkboxes. What that's going to give me is it's going to give me these little squares as opposed to the circles for multiple choice. And if you'll notice, if you hold right here, you'll see the little dots as well, and you can move it around up and down however you see fit. So I'm going to go ahead and put in here just a few. Okay, and those are going to be checkboxes. Okay, now if for whatever reason you want to remove one, all you have to do is click the X and it removes. Again, to add another one, you can go ahead and hit enter, and it'll add another one there. Again, this is going to be a required question, and we're good to go. This one is also a required question. We're good to go. So now we're going to go ahead and add a picture or an image, and I'm going to click on this one because I want the image to be below that. So I click on image, and then I can go ahead and either find it on my computer, or I can go to my Google Drive, and then I can go into images right here, and then I can go ahead and find an image that I want to add into this. And I'm just going to go ahead and say the Gmail logo, and we're good to go. And it's automatically going to put the Gmail logo there. I want it centered, and that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and do another question, and this is going to be a drop-down question. And this one's going to be kind of unique because I'm going to show you a cool thing that I learned here. So the question is going to be, what year were you born in? And so I'm going to change this to a drop-down. And now you'll see that the options have changed. Now it just says 1, 2, whereas before it would just say, it wouldn't say anything except for the response there. So now what I can do, I have another document that's created, and I'll show you right here. I have all of these dates in here. I'm going to go ahead and highlight these dates, and then I'm going to hit Control-C for copy, or if you're on a Mac, it would be Command-C. And then I'm going to click on Option real quick, just like that, and then I'm going to hit Control-V. And what happens is it automatically fills in all of the dates. So if you wanted to go ahead and go all the way up to 2000, you can, and it'll automatically pull it. It'll work if you have a Word document, or it'll work if you have a Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets as well. So that's an easy way of working on that. Again, it's going to be a required question. We're good to go. Now we're going to go ahead and say, you know what, if we wanted to add a video, maybe we want to say, watch this video and tell us how you feel. You click on add a video, and I can go ahead and find the URL link, and it'll embed the video straight into that. So if I wanted to, I could go into my into YouTube, and then I can go ahead and add a link straight through there. So if I wanted to go ahead and do MCISD Tech, I search for it, and it should pull up one of these videos. I click on it, then I hit select, and the cool thing is it's automatically going to be in there. I'm going to go ahead and make it centered, and we're good to go. The next thing that we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add another question, and it's going to be a linear scale. And I can go ahead and say, rank the video above. Okay? And so if I have this video ranked, I'm going to go ahead and change it to a linear scale. And then I can go ahead and say, okay, 1 through 5, or do we want to change it and say 0 to 5, or leave it at 1, or do we want to go up to 10? If we want to go up to 10, we can, but for this demonstration, we're going to go ahead and leave it at 5. And so what I'm going to do is 1 means poor, and a 5 means excellent. But what you'll notice is it says 1 already up here, so we're going to go ahead and leave it as 1, and then we're going to remove the 5 as well over here and just leave it as excellent. Okay. Again, this is a required question, and we can go ahead and go on from there. So the next one is going to be another question, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Add Question, and this is going to be a multiple choice grid. Now this one's a little bit more complicated, this multiple choice grid option. So once you click on multiple choice grid, you'll be presented with this information here. So if we wanted to go ahead and say, you know what, let's go ahead and ask a question that says, rate the areas of the instructional technology department on a scale of 1 to 5. Now I have the rows already figured out. I'm going to go ahead and paste those in there, and I already have the columns figured out, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste those in there as well. So once I do that, you'll see that I have friendliness, availability, usefulness, and then on this side it's going to say 1 poor, 2, 3, 4, 5 excellent. Again, require the response, and if you'll notice it says require 1 response per row. So that means they cannot choose multiple I guess ratings on there. So that would be something that you have to kind of pay attention to. So we're going to leave that alone. And now we can go ahead and add a section. So if for whatever reason you create a survey and if someone answers, for example, this question here, we can direct them to this section here. If they say this is a poor friendliness, poor availability, then we can say, you know what, automatically get sent to this section. And we can go ahead and put what can we do to make it better? And then we can go ahead and add a question, and then it'll be a paragraph. Please let us know how we can. And then they can go ahead and type it in there. This will be a required question if this is answered in one way or another. So we can say continue to next section, okay, this section here, and we can actually change the validation information here as well. And the validation information is not there, but that would be the way it would work. So if we wanted to, we could actually go ahead and go back and delete this section, which we are, and then once they're done with this, it's automatically going to submit it, well, once they click submit. So we just created a very easy form. I showed you all of the different types of questions that you can go ahead and create in here. Now let's go ahead and discuss a few other things about this as well. So at the very top, you're going to see all of these little icons right here. The first one is add-ons, and we'll discuss that in just a moment. Color palette, preview, the settings, send, and then you have more on the right side over here. Now we're going to go ahead and click on add-ons. This is new, and we could actually go in there and add more add-ons straight to this. And the add-ons are things that make or enhance your form or your survey. And it's up to you as to what you want to actually add to it. And you don't have to add anything. The Google Forms is very good without any add-ons, so you can leave that alone. The next one is color palette. So we're going to go ahead and click on color palette, and we want to change it to red. And it'll automatically change to red, and you'll see all of the background colors change to red as well. But let's say we want to go ahead and make it a blue color. There you go. That fits my mood a little bit more. All right. And now we can go over to preview. And I showed you this a little while ago. If we click on preview, it'll allow you to view the form the way it looks right now with all of the edits, with all the additions there. So here it shows you what the form title name is, please be honest, what is your name, so on and so forth. And again, if it's a survey, you're not going to be asking for your name unless it's part of the survey. Usually surveys are anonymous, so be aware of that. All of these questions are here. We have the picture that we added into this, and then we also chose the video to embed a video straight here, and then we have our linear scale, and then this grid multiple choice grid option here as well, and then the submit button. So it's all there, ready to go, and all you would have to do is just start answering it. But before we start answering it, we're going to go ahead and go back to the settings. We click on settings, this window is going to pop up. At the very top, this is something that's really important. If this is a survey that you are administering to people that may not have a Google account, you want to go ahead and change this to anyone. Now, if they don't have a Google account in your school district or in your domain, you want to change it to anyone. Now, if it's only for students or only for teachers, you go ahead and leave it on anyone in Mission CISD, and that's the default. But this one, I'm going to go ahead and put anyone, and then I can go ahead and say, can submit only one response requires a login. If you check this, that means they have to sign in to use this. So I'm not going to check that. I don't want that to happen because it's going to be anonymous. After they submit, this is the response that they're going to get. Your response has been recorded. Now, if you want to change that, you can go ahead and say, thank you for your response. Underneath that, it says show respondents a link to submit another response, edit their responses, or see summary of responses. Summary will be visible to all form respondents. I don't advise that you use this one. I say that you, if you want them to edit the responses, then you can give them access to that. Otherwise, I don't allow any of these unless maybe they're sharing a computer and you want maybe 2 students to submit a response, or you want 2 teachers to submit a response. It's completely up to you. So be aware that if you say they can submit another response, that means they can actually go back in there and submit multiple responses. Now, if you check this off, this becomes grayed out, meaning you can't choose that anymore. There's also presentation options where you can show the progress bar on the bottom. You can shuffle the order questions. If it's a survey and it's simple, the order questions can be shuffled, but sometimes people don't want them shuffled. And the great thing about it is when we go in to look at the data, the questions aren't shuffled there. So all the questions will automatically be put into those specific areas. So that's good. So we're going to go ahead and leave that checked off. Whenever you're done doing all these changes, you just click on Save. Now, the cool thing about Google Drive, again, everything is automatically saved. As soon as you do something, it's automatically saved. So you never have to worry about saving the Google form ever again. So you just type out your questions. Every time you type, it's saved. Now, we have this, we're going to skip over Send. We're going to come over here to More. And there's a few options here in this area here. We have Make a Copy, okay, which actually makes a copy of the form and it puts it into that folder that you have it in. We can send it to the trash can, or we can get a pre-filled link. Now, this one could be pretty useful. So if we go ahead and say Get Pre-Filled Link, what's going to happen is it's automatically going to open up in another window, and it's going to say Answer questions you want to pre-fill, then click Submit. So let's say we are teaching at a secondary school, and I don't want them to have to select this question. We just click on Secondary, and then we go all the way to the bottom, then we click on Submit. So now what's going to happen is it's going to give you a link up here at the top, and anytime we go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to go ahead and do Control-Shift-N, and that's going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there, and it's going to show up just like the way I submitted it right now. So if you'll look, it's automatically pre-filled. So if you have the date, you can go ahead and throw the date in there, and it'll be pre-filled for them. So it's completely up to you on how you want to use that, but do not lose this website address, the one that was up here at the top. That's the address that they're going to have to go to and click on it. And you can share a Google form using Google Classroom if you wanted to, or you can go ahead and use a URL shortener. Now, if you're in the school district in Mission CISD, you're going to have to get approval for that URL shortener, and you'll have to call the technology department. Not my department, but the technology department, so that they can go ahead and approve that and put that on like the white list for you all. So that's how you would go ahead and use a pre-filled form as well. So if you go ahead and go back, there's a couple more things that I want to go over here. We can go ahead and print the form. If we print the form, this is what it's going to look like. So this is how your form will look once you print it. It'll give you some information, the form name, everything you see, a little bit different than the way you would see it on the actual Google Form website. And then you just go ahead and print it, or if you want to save it as a PDF, you can save it as a PDF and then email it to other people. But I would suggest try not to do that and try to only have the Google form as something that people would fill out, because the whole idea is trying to stop wasting paper and making things a little bit easier for us to work on, streamline our workflow. So go back to more. We have adding collaborators. Now again, you can collaborate with other people. So if you're in a group of students, or if you're in a group where you all need to work together, maybe you have a department working together to create a form, you just go ahead and click on Add Collaborators, and you can go ahead and send the link to these people, or you can go ahead and add them here. And if you're in the district, you would just start typing out their name, and it'll automatically give you those people's names in there, and you just make sure that they can edit. Once you do that, you hit send, and it'll automatically send that link to them. All right, so we're done with that. We're going to go down. Script editor, that's a little bit more advanced. I'm not going to discuss that right now, but the add-ons. The add-ons, once you click on that portion, you can go in here and you can start looking at all the different types of add-ons. So if you click on Form Publisher, it'll give you a little information about what Form Publisher is. Will make your life easier. It generates Google Docs from a template using form responses. And so that's something that you could possibly use. Now there's other things here, form notifications that you can add anytime someone sends you or submits a form. You'll get a notification for that. And you can also change the triggers as well. Choice eliminators, so that's something that you could use as well if we need to help students out with eliminating certain choice questions. They can use that. Fadook is there as well. It generates a custom PDF for each form submission, so you could use that, and that's something that is pretty beneficial. GMath is there as well for our math teachers that are trying to create math quizzes. And everything else in here, it can be very useful. It's just you have to spend some time with it in order to learn those things. And if you have a question on one of these items, please just put it into the webinar Q&A, and then I can go ahead and look into it and then help you out with those questions that you may have. Oh, sorry, I forgot to show you. Once you click on an add-on, for example, if I click on maybe form notifications, all I would have to do to add it to my system is click on the plus free, and then I have to give it permission to view these items, and then click on allow. Once I do that, it'll automatically give me access to it, and I'll show you what it'll look like in just a second. Okay, it looks like everything is there, and it gives you a notification saying that you've already added it to that. So now, hit got it, go back over here, and then I can go into form notifications, and it'll start adding. It'll ask you some questions, and then you go ahead and answer them, and it'll give you a notification every time you send a form or get a form submitted to you, excuse me. So go back down here, you have the Help Center, you have Report a Problem and Take a Tour. So if you ever need to take a tour, you just click on that, and it'll kind of walk you through everything. And right now, for this instance, I'm not going to do the tour, but it'll walk you through everything that's there. And that's the More tab over here, the three little dots. Now, let's go ahead and click on Send. Now, this is the important thing. If we want to collect the usernames, and when I would give my students a test or a quiz, I would always collect the usernames. But for surveys, I don't collect them. You can send it in one of three ways, okay? And the first way is to email or via email. You click on the email button right here, and then you go ahead and start typing the email address right here to whoever you're sending it to, and then your subject, and then your message right there. And you can say include form in email, yes, and all you have to do is hit send. Now, the other way you can share this or send this form out, you go ahead and highlight this, and then you click on copy, and now you can go ahead and copy this and paste it into your email or maybe onto your website that you're working on, or you can even use it as a website on your Google Classroom that they would have to click on. So that's one way. And I would suggest if you're inside our school district, Mission CISD, do not click on shorten URL because it'll give you a goo.gl, Google URL shortened version, and it will not allow you to open it for whatever reason. Our web filter doesn't allow that. So if you want that to go back to the normal, you can, and you just copy it and you're good to go. With that said, you could also share it, and these are not part of the the quiz that you all are going to take. We're only talking about these three on the quiz. You can also share it via Google+, Facebook, or Twitter, whichever one you would like, if you wanted to submit it to other people as well. And then the last way, the third of three, is this one right here, and it's called Embed HTML. And so the cool thing about this is all you would have to do is click on this, click on copy, and then you can go ahead and embed this into our website, and you can have a form straight onto our website. And let me show you a quick form that we have right now, and it's under Parents. And here is the 21st Century Parent Survey in English and Spanish, and I embedded this form straight into our website so that parents didn't have to go out of it. They answer all the questions and they hit submit, and the questions are submitted, or the survey submitted to whoever needs to get it. So those are the three ways to send a form or send a survey to other people. And very easy, not very difficult at all. The other things that we're going to go ahead and talk about are the responses. Now, the responses are obviously the reason why we're creating a Google form, and the way you would get to that is at the very top right here. It says questions and responses. Whatever's highlighted will be what you're on, and whatever's not highlighted, which is in gray, will be what you're not on, obviously. And so right now we have 0 responses. Now, there's a little button over here, and it's called Create Spreadsheet. This is what I usually do. I have both going at the same time. And what I mean when I say both, I'll show you in just a second. So we'll click on this, and it'll say Create a new spreadsheet, and it's titled this, and then it says Responses on there. If I want to send this to an existing spreadsheet that I already have, then I can go ahead and say Select Existing Spreadsheet. But we're going to go ahead and create a brand new one. Hit Create, and we're good to go. And this is what the spreadsheet will look like. This is Google Sheets. It automatically opens it in this format here. And the first thing I always do, I highlight that first row where all the questions are at, and then I go over here, and then I click on Wrap, because I want all the questions to be wrapped so I can see them very clearly. Excuse me. So go back over here to the form, and then there's a couple of buttons over here. Here it says Waiting for Responses. Here it says Accepting Responses. Now, if we wanted to turn this form off, maybe the window to submit the survey is over, we can go ahead and click on that little button there, and it says Not Accepting Responses, and that we can go ahead and say Message for respondents. This form is no longer accepting responses. Thank you for your time, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is you want to say to let them know that we, had to close it out. Now we're going to go ahead and turn that back on, and it turns back to blue, and you're ready to go. There's 3 little dots here. We can go ahead and put Get Email Notifications for New Responses, select Response Destination. We can unlink the form. We can download responses via CSV, and we can also delete all responses. We don't want to do that, so I would suggest not doing that. And now we're going to go ahead and preview this, and we're going to answer the questions on this. So I'm going to go ahead and put my name, and I'm just going to put Armando, and then I'm going to go ahead and say I am happy, period. And for this demonstration purposes, I'm just going to go ahead and put secondary. What is your favorite color? Green is my favorite color. And we can actually click, oh, you know what, blue is also my favorite color. So those are my 2 favorite colors. What year were you born? I was born in 85, but for whatever reason I forgot to go up to 85, so we're going to say 1980. Okay, I can go ahead and watch this video. I'm not going to click on it right now, but I could click on it and it'll start playing. just in here. Now, if you are watching this video while at school, you would have to click on this, or you're doing this form while you're at school, you would have to sign into the web filter first before you could actually view the video. Right here it says rank the video above. I'm going to go ahead and say it's a 4. I don't think it's excellent. It's almost excellent. And then I'm going to go ahead and look this, rate the areas of the instructional technology department on a scale of 1 to 5. Friendliness, I'm going to go ahead and say we're a 4. Availability, 5. And usefulness. And if you'll notice here it says this question requires 1 response per row. Yeah, 1 response, 1 response. Usefulness, let's say very. As soon as you respond to each of those questions, it'll automatically go away. Now, all of these have little asterisks on it, and that means that you have to answer those questions. So make sure that you answer the questions that have the little red asterisk or star on it. Once you're done, you go ahead and click on Submit. Once you do that, it'll say thank you for your response, and that was our text that we added in there a little bit earlier. So I'm going to go over here, and in real time, it automatically collects the data, and we can actually start looking at all the information. Here it says, do you teach elementary or secondary? It shows secondary. And this is great because this is going to be an interactive, I guess, area where you'll see all the responses. You'll see the names, you'll see this. The only weird thing that I don't like about it is once you start to get more responses, if you did like first and last name, 2 different questions, then you're going to have first name, last name over here, and then it would say Armando, and then if my name was on there, it would be Sierra, and you would have 2 separate areas. So that makes it a little confusing, but it's okay. We have what is your favorite color. It shows 100% green, 100% white. I'm sorry, blue, excuse me. What year were you born? 1980. And I can actually go to the second page of this as well and then click on it, or I can hover right over here. And again, that's that interactive ability there as well. Rank the video. It'll show me that I ranked it a 4 out of 5. Here it shows rate the areas of the instructional technology department on a scale of 1 to 5, and it shows me here this is my legend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it has different colors. Friendliness, it was a 4. Availability, 5, and then usefulness, a 5 as well. So those are our responses. Now, let's go back. Remember that we clicked on this little green button right here. It says View Responses in Sheets. We can actually go back up here, and we can see the responses. Again, everything happens in real time, and it automatically saves. You'll never have to save anything here. So it shows name, all this other information. It shows the 2 colors that I chose here, the year, so on and so forth. So this is a very easy way to collect the data. Okay, very easy. So if we wanted to, we could actually go ahead and highlight these 2 columns, and there is a button here that says Explore, and when you have enough information here, you could actually click on all of the information and then see what the graphs are that they suggest you use. And they're going to look something similar to this as well, and they will all be interactive as well. So that's how you'll see responses. Now let's go ahead and go back in here, and let's go ahead and click on Print All Responses, and this is what it's going to look like once we print the responses. And once it loads up, it just takes a moment, and here are all the responses that we chose. So this is something that you could use as well for printing the responses. Now, what if we want to go ahead and wipe out all the responses? Just go ahead and click on Delete All Responses, and it'll ask you one more time, are you sure you want to delete all responses from this form? Hit yes, and then all of a sudden it goes back to 0. And here it should be updated, okay? And it's not. So whenever this happens and it doesn't update, all you would have to do is click on the left side over here where it says number, and it says working. I'm going to give it a second. Click over here one time, and then you're going to go ahead and click right click on it. Once it loads, right click again, and then you're just going to go ahead and delete that row, and it's gone and it's ready to go. So all of your responses will go there. This is what we did earlier. And that's Google Forms. It's very easy to work with, very useful, beneficial, especially if you want to do surveys. And again, if you want to watch a video where we have some more information on how to create a Google form with the Flubaroo add-on, you can, and it's under recorded trainings on my webpage, and you can go ahead and click on Google Forms with auto grade feature, and this is the Flubaroo app that we're using, or add-on that we're using. So click on that. Check out all the other videos as well to see if there's anything in there that might be beneficial to you. And if you have a suggestion or you have something that you want me to cover, go ahead and send me a quick email, and you can either send me a tweet, or you can go ahead and send me an email to this email right here, aesierra83@missioncisd.org. I'm trying to have one webinar a week. Sometimes we have meetings, unexpected meetings that pop up, so we have to kind of push things back. But for the most part, we're trying to do webinars on Wednesday, and at some point I may have to start the webinars a little bit earlier at 4 o'clock, and if that happens, you know, it's something that we have to do. So I really do apologize for any inconvenience that may cause. All the upcoming webinars will be under the PD schedule here, and you'll also see the webinar information as well in the upcoming webinars right here. Also, it will take me about 24 to 48 hours to send you your certificate once you have completed and received an 80% or better on your quiz. And the quiz that I'm talking about is under PD Resources, and it's right here. So once you click on that quiz, it's a Google form. You'll go ahead and fill out all the information, answer the questions, and once you submit it, it'll take me between 24 and 48 hours to send out the certificate to you. Now, I've been having some problems, some issues, and I'm still trying to figure it out because this is a new idea, a new system of providing professional development to you all. And so once I iron out those kinks, I will send you that certificate right away. Also, don't forget to submit your feedback via the anonymous survey that is linked on the PD Resources page. So whenever you get a chance, please click on that after you do the quiz and answer those survey questions. I do take all survey questions or answers, responses to heart, and I make sure that I learn from either my mistakes or I try to improve in every single way. So if you all have any questions, please again send me a quick email and I'll go ahead and answer those questions. If you have a question about this webinar, you can go ahead and add it into the webinar Q&A, which is right here, and we can go ahead and answer those questions as well. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and hopefully we can see you the next time. Bye-bye.